Hey Film Dorks, what's going on? Today's video is sponsored by Trifector Home Products, your source for hardware, housewares, cleaning products, and office supplies. Drive is a 2011 film directed by Nicolas Refn from a screenplay by Hossein Amini, starring Ryan Gosling, Bryan Cranston, Carey Mulligan, Oscar Isaac, Ron Perlman, and Albert Brooks. As some of you might remember from my video on Neon Demon a few months ago, I was a little bit skeptical going into this one after that train wreck. And I gotta say, Nicolas Refn has redeemed himself in my eyes big time. I mean, the cinematography is amazing. The performances are stellar. The story is gripping and exciting and suspenseful and so well structured. I actually timed out the movie in 10-minute chunks, and each 10-minute section, you can summarize what it's about. It's just this perfect, meticulously structured thriller. I know one of the things I really complained heavily about from Neon Demon, all the scenes that are just people staring at each other blankly, and it just felt so empty and vapid. And he uses that staring technique a lot in this movie too, but it never feels empty and vapid and pointless. So much of the emotional weight of the film is conveyed in these long silences and in these shots of people just looking at each other. Some of that, I think, is probably down to the direction. Some of that is down to the cast. Ryan Gosling, of course, was fantastic with how much he could convey with just a fairly blank facial expression. But there was so much you could see the difference from one scene to the next with what's going on behind his eyes. Carey Mulligan, fantastic at the same thing. You can see all of the conflicting emotions that's going through her face, because she's kind of made this connection with Ryan Gosling, but she also loves her husband, and she feels like, she owes him for their son's sake and for their history. And it's incredible how much these actors are able to convey with such minimal dialogue. And really, that got me thinking about a largely silent hero and what that does for a film. On the one hand, I thought of like Clint Eastwood in the old, like the Dollars trilogy. Ryan Gosling has kind of the same feel here, where he's that cool guy that nothing seems to ruffle. And even when he starts getting kind of angry or violent, he seems like he's still in control of himself, which just makes him seem like this really cool, untouchable kind of guy. On the other hand, the fact that he is so silent also gives him this kind of blank slate character, where I thought I could tell what was going on behind his eyes most of the movie, but how much of that was actually there and how much is what I'm able to put onto his characterization because so much of it is so flat, you know what I mean? There are, certain parts of this movie especially where I kind of found myself going, okay, what's he thinking right now? Is he thinking what I think he's thinking, or is he thinking something else? And so having that mostly silent, mostly self-contained, self-controlled hero creates this air of mystery to it because you can't entirely tell what's going on. Another thing that I really liked about this movie is the really minimal scoring. There are definitely some parts of the film where there's a lot of like a low throbby bass sound that just kind of makes things feel a little more tense. And there are some sort of montage sequences that have kind of like techno pop songs, but there's not a lot of like really like in your face cinematic music. And in fact, there's large chunks of the film that have no score at all, which really kind of emphasizes the realism in a lot of ways, which just makes it so much more effective than it would be if there'd been, this grand score behind some of it. There's really only one scene in the whole movie where the music kind of does that cinematic thing, and it's like the only potato kind of moment where the score adds that punch. On the other hand, the one thing that I feel kind of is a negative about this particular movie also relates to the music. There's a song that gets reused in multiple places. It seems like it's supposed to kind of be from the Carey Mulligan character's perspective, and it's a song about how he's this great hero, and it's all about him being a hero, and it just keeps talking about him being a hero, and it's just so heavy-handed. It's way too on the nose for my tastes. But you know, that's literally the only problem I have with the entire movie. I thought all of the acting was great. I thought the cinematography was amazing. Everything works so well to convey the emotions and the story and the feeling that Refn is going for with this one. I'm going to give it 4 potatoes. So, have you guys seen Drive? What did you think of this 9-year-old movie that I'm just now finally getting around to watching? Should I check out Nicolas Winding Refn's other movies, or are they more like in the Neon Demon direction and I'm not gonna like them? Let me know down in the comments below. Later this month, I'll have another video in my director's series, and in the meantime, stay safe, happy, and well, and I'll see you on the flip side.